wanted to do some commentary. In the Bible, there's like certain people are described as a roe in the mountains, as swift as a roe in the mountains. Anytime that's basically a deer. Anyone who is symbolized as a deer, it means that you got endurance and you're elusive and uh on the flip of that, being like a deer is being hunted. Like when Saul was after David, he was being hunted, and since this guy was king, David really couldn't kill him or slay him because God chose him to be king, and David respected that, so he had to take on the attributes of the deer, of the roe in the mountains. Elusive. It also symbolizes wild and free as well, dude. So uh, it's like that's one of the characteristics of the Gadites too. They're described as a deer in one case, but then on the flip, they're also described that their face is as lions and fierce warriors with skilled with spear and shield. And you can think that's basically your original weapon there, dude. Someone who can tie a knife to the end of a stick. And just because you think of a shield, you would think of the armor of the knights. But if you see the Indians, the Plains Indians, they had the custom of making these shields out of stretched animal skin. And they had spears. That's what they killed buffaloes with, and lances. So they fit those characteristics. You know what I'm saying? It's like that movie Legend of the Dogmen, or The Last of the Dogmen. It's like a tribe of Indians that never met no one, and they were way deep in the remotest parts of Canada. And it would be like in modern times if someone came up to you and you were still living ancient. I mean, I never seen the movie, but I remember that's the premise of it. The face as a lion. This means this. This means you are warriors. It means, but when you're described as deer, swift as deer, elusive, wild, but you're also like lions. It means sometimes it's kill or be killed. It's like sometimes you're at war and you're hunting, you're the lion. Other times you're the deer trying to avoid the other lions. So I mean, ain't that just like life? I mean, even Jesus is described as the lamb and the lion. So I mean, even he has characteristics. But when you say the lamb, that means like a child. And if you ever watched baby, I seen this video of this baby sheep, and it was just jumping for joy. You know what I'm saying? Those things can't really hurt anyone. All they can do is hurt the grass, eat the grass. Big deal. It'll grow back next year, right? But the lion, on the other hand, once again, lion could symbolize warrior, but also could symbolize king, because king of the jungle is the title of the lion. But so, in Chinese, man, lion also represents the heaven, the sky, the cosmos. That, I mean, it doesn't. It just, everything way up there that we can't get to. That's what heaven symbolizes, and that's what lion means too. So what's crazy about it too is I'm reading Hosea, and he's talking to Ephraim, and he's like, it's like, look at all your gray hair, and basically it's like God's telling him that look at all your blessings. You know how you were blessed by your when you followed God and remembered when you remembered God and your forefathers and whatnot and their God. And it was describing, this is like before they got taken away as the judgment. This is like they were in their heyday of basically intermingling their belief systems with all the surrounding kingdoms' belief systems for favors from their gods. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, the gray hairs is in there. Like God reminds them about the gray hair. And it was specifically when he was coming talking about Ephraim. And it's just funny, I just happened to pick up Hosea the other day and look at it, and it was in there, and I was like, whoa. I was like, that's kind of, I don't believe in coincidences. But also when God talks about he goes, I planted a vine, and he goes, and what? Now all of a sudden I got wild vines that came up, and it's like basically that also is a characteristic of the Indian people, that they became very wild when they came over here to America, because I mean it was just, there was no kings. The law was It fluctuated from place to place, and you got to understand, like, like if you're a rich, you got to understand, like, the like sin, like greater sin, lesser sin, like a man who steals, who's starving. You know what I'm saying? That's very much overlookable. But when you see like a politician or a priest who's robbing everyone when he's in a position of authority, he is a greater. His sin is greater. Uh, just like killing and murdering, like in war. It's not. It doesn't come murder until you actually have this desire and hatred and this bloodlust in your heart, where you just start taking people out when you could make peace. So there's differentiations. You got that's even like Jesus when he said, "Hey, if you knew what this meant, you would give mercy and not sacrifice." You know what I'm saying? So and it even describes once again. It describes. It said Gad is like a lion. He teareth the crown with the arm. That's another thing. The Indians would take scalps as a form of counting the amount of people that you killed. You know what I mean? So it's plus, hey, if it's got blonde hair, well, that must have been a European. If it's dark, long, black hair, well, it's a native. But what's crazy about all this is that these Indians became, these they basically lived, man, as literally, they had to hunt the deer, so when you hunt these things, and they had to hunt mountain lions and bear and other wild beasts. Like David killed bear and lion, he said. Samson killed bear and lion, I think it also says. So that's like an attribute. Because like people always want to play this game of, oh, don't hurt the animals. Hey, those bears and lions will rip you to shreds and eat you. You know what I'm saying? If nature, I mean, it shows you, at least for now, man. Look, the nature, we still got to keep our distance. If we want to survive these things, and if these things want to survive as well, we gotta give them space away from all of us. I mean, because that's another thing. If you want to raise cattle and livestock, well, you got to get rid of the more predator-like animals. You got to keep their numbers down. You know what I'm saying? It's like you shouldn't eradicate them, but at least if they venture into around the people where they can kill people, you gotta manage management over extermination. I mean, like, basically, you don't want to genocide and eugenics the animals, but you know what I'm saying. At the same time, there was a time when the animals were like plagues to men in many ways, and you just gotta research the ancient parts of the biblical scriptures, and maybe some of the scriptures they don't tell you about, like Jubilees, Jasher, and Enoch, because these have all the animals are described. Like when they say a unicorn, people think that means a unicorn, but it doesn't. It just means a female rhinoceros. You know what I'm saying? It's so simple, but people try to mystify it, and it makes it totally. You'll miss it. The other day I just gave that song of Hiawatha another listen, and right in the beginning it talks about how like basically God came to the Indians and he was like, look, I'm sick of you guys fighting and killing each other and murdering each other all the time, or warring against one another. And the peace pipe was God telling the Indians, all of them, like basically it names a bunch of the tribes, a lot of tribes are related, are relatives of one another, and you can follow their traditions, and see who's related by their belief system. Were they more superstitious, or did they have a solid structural ancestral memory? So it was like he was talking. He told all the Indians, man. He said, bury all your weapons, and then he said, go and wash off all your war paint. It talks about like there's so many Indians that did this, that the water looked like blood, and he was like, wash yourself, make yourself clean, and live as brethren. Your strength is in your unity, is what he said, and the Indians disobeyed that. So just like in the Bible, when the a lot of times the judgments come on people for when they refuse to listen to God, and God will come for a long time and keep and remind you again and again and again, and eventually it just goes and then it's all it's all pain, mourning. You know what I'm saying? Great lamentation, great tribulation, and then it's when you read these the chronicles of the ancient times. I mean, not even ancient. It's only a couple hundred years ago some of this stuff happened, and he also said to him, he goes, "I will send you a prophet that will give you instruction, but more instruction than even this." But that was future tense. It seemed to me, and then we did get the witness of the gospel, which confirmed that the mercy thing and the live at peace with people, and but in order to you can hate evil, but that doesn't. But God's the one who gives the revenge. He'll revenge the evils. So it's like you can look at the evil. It's kind of like when they were killing Timothy, who's like, God, lay it not to their charge, as they stoned him to death. So, same thing. That's where the real that takes a lot of courage. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so easy to give in to your impulses and that revenge. The blood for blood, tooth for tooth, eye for an eye way of thinking. Because I mean, there are so many violators of your freedoms, of your liberty. They use their liberty as a cloak of maliciousness. You know what I'm saying? Especially in these days when basically, unless you have anything goes basically in these days. So if it's up to your own code, basically, if you don't adopt the commandments as a code, so that can go any way. Anyway, I mean, if you don't have a morality, there's no reason not to lie. You know what I'm saying? So you could say anything, do anything. It doesn't even matter. No, with no, that's what a sociopath and a psychopath is like. They just don't care if they hurt anyone, whatever they do, whoever pays, whoever suffers, they just do anything anyway, with no consideration for nothing but themselves. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta try not to become that.